Sometimes, late at night, your mind starts replaying small moments you didn't mean to keep. Not big worries, just fragments from conversations, pauses, or things you might have said differently. This video quietly explores that kind of thinking, the kind that shows up when the room is still and nothing needs you. Sometimes it happens late. Sometimes it happens late. Not right away. Not when you lie down. More like when you've already been there a while. When the room has settled. When nothing is asking anything from you. That's when the thinking starts. Not dramatic thinking, not big thoughts, just little ones. Things from earlier, from the day, from weeks ago sometimes. A sentence comes back, not the whole conversation, just one part. The way it sounded, the pause after it, the look on someone's face that might have meant something or might not have. You go over it again and again. You don't really decide to. It just happens. It doesn't feel angry. It doesn't feel kind either. It feels practical, like checking something one more time. You think, why did I say it like that? Or maybe that wasn't the moment. Or just, The thought doesn't finish. It trails off, then comes back a few minutes later, shaped slightly differently. During the day, there's usually too much going on for this. You're moving, responding, doing what's next. But at night, there's space, and the mind fills it. It replays things the way you might turn an object over in your hands. Not roughly, not gently either. Just checking. Sometimes you notice how often this happens, how familiar it feels, like it's always been there, like background noise you don't question. It shows up before you speak, before you send something, before you raise your hand a little higher than usual. There's a pause, not a long one, just enough. Enough to reconsider the wording, the timing, the version of you that's about to appear. Most of the time, it feels normal, responsible. You don't think, I'm doubting myself. You think, I'll wait. Or, better not. Or, it's probably fine as it is. And then you move on. Later, though, the moment comes back. Not clearly, in pieces. You wonder what would have happened if you hadn't paused. Not in a dramatic way, just briefly. The thought doesn't lead anywhere. It just sits there. Some of these patterns are old. You can tell because you don't remember choosing them. They formed around things that never really ended. Small misunderstandings, moments you felt slightly off. Times when being quieter seemed to work better. Nothing big enough to talk about. Just enough to remember. Over time, the mind fills in explanations, not on purpose, just things like, This is how I am. This is usually how it goes. They don't sound like beliefs. They sound like observations. And because they've been there so long, they don't feel optional. At night, this all gets clearer, or maybe slower. The thoughts don't rush anymore. They circle. You replay a conversation. You adjust the tone. You imagine a different response. Not because you think it will change anything. You know it won't. Still, the mind keeps working on it, like it missed something. Sometimes you compare yourself without meaning to. You think of someone else, how easily they spoke, how sure they sounded. You don't judge yourself exactly. You just notice the difference. And that noticing lingers. There's a heaviness there. Not sharp, just present. You're aware of how much you hold back. Not all the time. Just enough to feel it. The reasons line up quietly. Past moments, patterns, times when stepping forward felt strange. The thoughts don't argue. They don't push. They say things like, "Let's slow down." Or they don't say anything at all. They just pause. Underneath all of that, there's something harder to name. Not another voice. More like a feeling that doesn't use words. A pull, an interest, a sense of wanting to move towards something without knowing what it is. It doesn't interrupt. It doesn't correct anything. It just stays there. You notice it more at night because nothing is covering it up. It doesn't explain itself. It doesn't make a case. It just exists alongside everything else. The thinking doesn't stop. It probably won't. But sometimes, late like this, you can feel the difference between the thoughts and the space they're happening in. The thoughts keep looping. The room stays quiet. Nothing settles. Nothing needs to. You're just here, listening to how the mind sounds when it's tired and no one is watching. That's all for now.